Kia ora, good evening Rotorua, welcome to City News. Just ahead in tonight's bulletin. Music Stands for Christchurch fundraiser ready to rock this weekend. Finalists are announced in this year's BNZ Māori Excellence in Farming Awards. And the Waikato Bay of Plenty Magic win by 1 in Perth. Those stories up next on City News. An earthquake of magnitude 5 hit the Bay of Plenty yesterday afternoon. GNS Science reports the quake was centred 70 kilometres north of White Island and was 270 kilometres deep. It struck the area at 3:28 p.m. The tremor followed a magnitude 4.5 quake earlier in the day. That quake shook the Bay of Plenty just after 5 a.m. and was centred 70 kilometres northeast of Whakatane at a depth of 130 kilometres. So far, there have been no reports of damage. A surprise guest from Tahiti will feature in this weekend's Music Stands for Christchurch fundraiser. Organiser Miriana Wilson says the event features artists from all over New Zealand and the Pacific, and Ms Wilson says the Te Arawa flavour will be at the fore.
We have a pōhiri at 3 p.m. and it goes from 4 to 11, and because there's a lot of surprises happening, we've got a lot of acts. I'm just so excited. I'm overwhelmed by the support of businesses that's come on board to support the kaupapa. And of course I've got special guests flying in from Tahiti on the day. And that's not on the list of names I've got. Wonderful to have Kevin Winters, our mayor, email me and said he'd be honoured to speak at, and other councillors. We've got Charles Sturt and Janet Weber. And, I just said, bring the chequebook.
Music Stands for Christchurch is on Saturday at Tamate Kapua Marae in Ohinemutu. For tickets, contact Miriana Wilson at Te Arawa FM. The finalists in this year's BNZ Māori Excellence in Farming Awards have been announced. The nominees competing for the Ahuwhenua Trophy in the beef and sheep competition are Waipapa 9 Trust west of Taupo, Pakihiroa Farms on the east coast west of Ruatoria, and O Takanini Tōpū Incorporation on the Kaipara Harbour near Helensville. As well as being presented with the historic Ahuwhenua Cup, this year's winners will receive up to $40,000 in cash and farm-related products and services. The Supreme Award winner and recipient of the Ahuwhenua Trophy will be announced at a gala awards dinner in Rotorua on Friday the 3rd of June. Good news for the family of Kerry Gray. The Western Heights man who had been missing for the last 2 weeks contacted his family over the weekend. Mr Gray had been in Christchurch and told his family he'd needed some time out. Detective Sergeant John Wilson of the Rotorua Police says Mr Gray's absence had caused his family great concern. Mr Wilson says it's okay to have time out, but let your family know. In sport tonight, Waikato Bay of Plenty Magic held strong to take out their Trans-Tasman netball match 42-41 over West Coast Fever in Perth last night. The game had been characterised as having huge defensive effort from both teams. However, the Magic maintained a narrow lead at the end of each quarter, but had to hold out a storming finish from the Fever to secure the win. In a frantic final quarter, the Magic remained cool under pressure, with Magic goal shooter Irene van Dyke scraping in the winning shot with only seconds on the clock. And fans of the Waikete rugby team are still celebrating the team's return to Baywide Premier Rugby with a 46-7 thumping of Rotoiti. Waikete were relegated from the Premier Division in 2009 and have been itching to get back since. The first round of the Premier Baywide competition began last weekend and Waikete aims to make the top 4. The other Rotorua Premier game saw Whakarewarewa beat Mount Maunganui 22-10 and Rotorua results in Division 1. Kahukura beat Marist St Michael's 27-25 and Nongotaha beat Reporoa 41-8. To your weather now, Rotorua and the surrounding areas. Tonight, fine southerlies, overnight a low of 7. Tomorrow, Wednesday, fine, gusty southeasterlies, a high of 19 and a low of 12. Long range for Thursday, fine, westerlies developing, a high of 21 and a low of 11. Marine forecast for Lake Rotorua for Wednesday, southeast 15 knots rising to 20 knots, gusting 30 knots for a time in the afternoon and evening. Waves less than half a metre and fine. Still to come tonight on City News, our special report on the Te Arawa response to the Christchurch earthquake, and the V48 Hours film competition comes to Rotorua. Tanya Short gives us the details.